Wrestling. Hi again, wrestling fans. Welcome to another riveting, award-seeking edition of AIWF Ringside Wrestling. I am Mad Matt Carter, being joined as always by Hall of Famers Brian and Reagan Danzig, Hall of Famer Stephen Hayes, Hall of Famer and Commissioner Rick Diesel.
I'm not always. I'm occasionally during
the during
the summer. I'm joining you occasionally.
Yep. Well, we'll take you while we got you. So appreciate you making it.
Hey, how hard would it be to make next week's episode a little later?
I mean,
or at least let it go longer. I have a reason, but I can't
longer.
Yeah, I mean, this thing's long enough as it is.
That's not what she said.
I mean, I'm fine with starting a little later.
I had to let you know.
All right, we'll negotiate it throughout the week. I just have to get up so early in the morning, and it probably ain't jack shit compared to what Brian has to do. Whoops, dropped a cuss word real early.
I'm not talking a whole lot later. I'm talking maybe instead of 5:30, maybe 7:30.
Okay.
Or 7. I don't know yet.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And at that point, I only have 1.5 more days of work, so I can do whatever.
Really? I thought all of North Carolina was out of school.
Oh, wait, no. Next week. No, that'll be right. Yeah. So, yeah, I have this week and 1.5 days next week.
Our kiddos got out of school up here end of last week, I believe. Like, not this past Friday, but Friday before last.
I think we was about the same up here, right?
Well,
in that area.
some counties follow the state law and some don't. So
there's a state law.
Yeah, technically you're not supposed to start to the first Monday before the 21st of August, and you're not supposed to end before June something. But a lot of counties now are just going back early and getting out right after Memorial Day, which makes
I don't know about the rest of you, but I remember when we didn't go back until after Labor Day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Yeah, I did too, because back then everybody was still doing tobacco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
exactly.
So, but you know,
God
it's funny
bless you.
down here when they got them out the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. And I was thinking, maybe that's a Cabarrus County thing. They just want to get the kids out of school before the race crowd hits.
That makes kind of sense too.
Yeah, because there was, what did they tell us? There was 85,000 in the grandstands at the 600 and over 100,000 in the campgrounds. So, I mean, that's like a North Korean wrestling show right there. That's a huge crowd, but they didn't have to force anybody to come to the 600. Everybody came of their own free will. So,
USA. That bring in hookers from other states for that.
USA A-OK.
Luckily, Rock Hill's right down the road.
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm gonna keep it moving. But anyway, so good to have you along, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications whenever we show this program on. Whenever we add new videos to the channel. The Ringside Wrestling channel is done way better than any of us expected when we launched it. This show is headed toward its 3rd anniversary. We started in 2021 in July, late June or early July, and so we're almost to our 3-year anniversary. Can you believe it?
Awesome. Man, see how time flies when you're old?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. I know you kids think it takes forever to get through a year, but buddy, after you get out of high school, it starts speeding up and it only gets faster every year. So,
yeah.
But anyway, something that you can look forward to. Let's see here. We're coming off a pretty damn successful Extreme Content. I got to tell you, I thought the card looked pretty stacked to begin with. But once we got in there and I felt the energy in that building, when I asked the crowd, I do that whole routine, are you ready? And they yell, and I usually say, oh, come on, you got to do better than that. And do it again, which is common amongst, anybody at a live event. They do that at football games, basketball game. They were loud enough on the first one. I told them, I was like, okay, that's good enough. I ain't even going to ask you a second time. And we had... I wanted to kick. Oh, yeah. I can't minimize this while I'm zooming. Hang on a second. Let me see here. I got something for you guys, but I got to get it pulled up. of something special that happened at the beginning of the show last night. Now, generally, we hold these videos. We have a set amount of time that we hold the videos for and all that jazz. But Rick Diesel, your presentation with Justin Flash at the beginning, I think we should show that to the people because
that's fine. Yeah, that I'm 100% on board with that because that they don't see me out there often, and I dress for, working around the food truck, working backstage. I don't dress for going out in the ring, so they had to run around and find me a shirt to wear because I keep losing mine. I found one of them though.
Did you?
I found one.
All right.
That's good.
So let me see here. Let me see if I get the volume set so I don't blow everybody's ears off right from the beginning. So if you want to see this video raw, it's on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. It just premiered at the top of the hour because I wanted to use it for this show. And it's called A Surprise for Justin Flash. So if you guys are ready, I will share my screen and we will pick it up from the beginning. If you can't hear it, yell at me and let me know. But otherwise I'm gonna let it roll, okay? And can you let me know when you can?
Oh, thank God. I thought you was gonna film me coming out when I almost fell off the steps.
No,
I think Tim might be on the television show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I get that out.
Yeah, I didn't start.
Yeah,
I didn't start rolling.
That spooked me. I got up there and I was like, "Whoa!" Because it's been so long since I've done it. And as you can see, I'm not. My center of gravity is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
So, you lean a little bit to one way and you go, man. Woo.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, man.
All right, let me roll it. I didn't start rolling this video until after all the copyrighted music had played. So here we go.
Smart move.
20 years close to it. So he had a real hard time over the past few months from the end of 2023 into 2024 over this thing right here with Corey Edson. So at this time, Justin, if you don't mind, could you lay that right here?
Oh, Juliana.
Right there.
Section B for Bulldog.
We don't do this often, but when we do, it's very special. At this time, I would like to present you and Justin Flash with the brand new AIWF Mid Atlantic Championship belt.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Hold it up, let everybody see it, man.
Isn't that a beauty?
That belt's beautiful.
It
It
is.
is.
Very nice.
Just out of curiosity, Justin, when was it that you won your very first Mid Atlantic Championship?
I gotta say, that was probably 2009, 2010. Several years ago.
When did you first join the AIWF?
2006.
So 18 years ago, Justin Flash came into the AIWF. 3 years later, he won his very first Mid Atlantic Championship. No other current wrestler on the roster has been a champion in the AIWF Mid Atlantic longer or as many times that I can think of as Justin Flash. But it's definitely not longer. So to celebrate Justin Flash's 18 years with the AIWF and being a Mid-Atlantic champion on and off since 2009, Justin, you take this one and put it on your mantle at the house. It's yours forever.
I'm not making y'all
There are
dizzy.
some of these guys those 18 years.
Blair.
A lot of these guys, I got to give them thanks for the success I've had here, because a lot of these guys have helped me along the way. So guys, thank you. Thank you for being out here for this. Now, I'm not going to stay here and hold up all the time on the mic, because I'm pretty sure y'all ready for some extreme content, correct? So we're going to get this thing going, and I'm going to be sure that I walk out with this title still in hand tonight.
There you have it.
But you know, and think about it, Justin Flash. I've never seen anybody hold popularity like he does.
Mm-hmm.
But he was gone for a while. You know, he like semi-retired, got out of the business for a while, come back, and it was just like natural. The fans just took to him naturally. And 18 years he's been. I did the math right? 18.
Yeah, close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 years he's been with AIWF and been on top. And that is a hell of an accomplishment to still be out there winning titles in this company. And it was a big honor to be able to do that for him last night. I wished I could do it for every wrestler that's ever held a title in this company, but we'd go broke. But
Mm-hmm.
When somebody hits milestones like that, you know what I'm saying? It's just something you do for them. He has been with this company and held titles with this company actively, because we got me and Brian, who's been here since, freaking thing was invented. But Justin has been active for 18 years, and that's longer than most wrestling companies that even been around.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, and let's be honest. He did not get out of wrestling because he was just all beat up and wanted to go home. He wanted to focus on softball, and that's what he did. He went away and played softball for 5 or 6 years, and then came back, because he missed it. So it's not like he got out of shape. That's what we were telling everybody when he said that he was coming back. I remember having the conversation with JAC. I was like, I got bad news for you, buddy. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I hear Justin Flash is coming back. And he said, who's that? And I told him, and he was like, oh, I'd be all right. I'll handle him. And I was just like, I don't know. A lot of people have said that. And so, anyway, welcome back. Say welcome back, but Flash has been back now, what, 1.5 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And right back on top.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't take him long at all.
Nope. And now he didn't like just run through the Fighters Club. He had a tough road to hoe.
Oh yeah,
getting the title.
I mean that's what makes it so special is that he had to fight for it so hard,
and then won it and had to go months without having it.
Right.
And then had to win it again in a ladder match. So if there's anybody out there who's went over a lot of rough road to get where they're at in this company, it's him.
Absolutely. So, and Justin Flash did afford me the courtesy, because I'm a belt mark. He afforded me the courtesy of letting me take a picture with it in the parking lot last night before we left. Although I kind of felt like superstitious about that. I like to take my picture with the new belts before they're awarded to somebody. So I hope I don't bring any bad luck on him. But I lost a little sleep about that last night. But I told him I wasn't going to put the picture on social media, but he insisted I show it on this program. It's just not going to be tonight because I haven't had time to upload it yet. But so anyway, but yeah, that was great. A lot of the younger guys were walking by like, why is the ring announcer posing with the champion in the new belt? No. I'm telling you, I'm a belt mark. I can't help it. If you get awarded a new title belt, expect the same embarrassing question to come to you. So, yeah.
Why is the ring announcer posing with the belt? Because the ring announcer's been here longer than you.
Yes.
But the young guys think it's kind of, I know why they think that's kind of markish behavior, but I don't care. I don't mind telling you I'm a mark.
Take the picture.
Why
I was in it long enough. Take the picture.
That's right. I've been coming around for what, 26, 27 years now, I guess, and I'm in the Hall of Fame, so cut me some slack, young guys.
I'm gonna tell you, if Ricky Morton comes back, now that I'm back in this bitch right here, she's gonna take a picture with him. So I don't have that's worse than taking a picture with a belt. So
no, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
He's probably happy that people still want to take pictures with him. You know?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When him and Robert were on their farewell tour, I saw him at Spartanburg, and George South had the biggest merch table because he basically carries a whole
George.
He's a flea market.
Yeah, he basically
that's what I call him, two-table George at his traveling wrestling flea market.
But Rock and Roll had, the longest line, even compared to the young guys. They had the longest line. They had more They had a variety of merch. They had DVDs, T-shirts. It was crazy. So, but
still in a phrase there: oldest ride, longest line.
Yeah.
So let's get into what happened last night. The videos will be coming out when they come out, so just keep an eye on the YouTube channels. But our opening matchup was a real good one. It was Dangerous C. Corey Etzel and his protege Mecha Mercenary. It's a combined wrestling weight of about 750 pounds, if my addition is correct here, just looking at the card. And against Metallico and Buddy Flowers of THC. And things, I don't know. It seemed like Buddy and Metallico were in their head at the beginning, but then the big guys got control and started to squash the little guys. But boy, I tell you what, a lot of guts. Buddy and Metallico just stayed in it and kept fighting. They just kept kicking out. And eventually won the match. I'd just like to go around the table and I guess Brian and Reagan, you saw it. I don't know if you saw it, Rick Diesel, because you're so busy. But all right, then Brian and Reagan, what did you guys think about that match?
Well, I do think that Buddy and Metallica went in with a plan. Like they knew what they were up against. They knew what they had to do, and yeah, in the beginning they really, executed that plan. But like you said, there in the middle, it looked like Corey Mecha, like the size difference was gonna prevail. I mean, I was, watching it, I was like, well, yeah, they keep kicking out, but eventually they're not. Eventually they're gonna take one more splash or one more or something, and then they're just not gonna be able to physically do it anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Because when you have that size difference, all it takes is one devastating move from the bigger guy to finish off the smaller guy. So, but yeah, Metallico and Buddy Flowers, they executed their game plan flawlessly. They did quick in and out tags, utilized the double team, and you could tell that especially Corey wasn't exactly taking the match very seriously. I mean, he was out there kind of goofing off, which part of it, of course, was mind games, trying to, psych his opponents out, making them think that he doesn't think they're, worth his time. And so he's going to go out there and goof off. But I think that that plan kind of backfired on him, and they just, Buddy Flowers just executed a quick pin, caught Corey off guard. I mean, he didn't beat the big man down till he couldn't kick out. He did exactly what a smaller guy should do. He used his quickness, slapped on a quick pin, and caught the big man off guard.
Yeah. I was really worried there in the middle when he took out Buddy and JT Moss jumped into the ring. It's not to put it in JT Moss's that he thought this was America.
It is America,
but it's not it's not
no DQ,
and it's not Freebird rules.
Right.
So but yeah, he left very unhappy, screaming that he thought this was America. So
which I'm kind of glad that for his sake that he did get ejected from ringside, because because I was kind of concerned because he had a match. Yeah, his match was the second match on the card. And I was like, I'm kind of wondering about his strategy of, going out there first match, and then, he needs to be in the back preparing for his match.
Yeah.
So I think it ended up being a good thing for him to have gotten ejected halfway through.
And he took all his grilling tools with him, which the last two shows we've had have been used against THC. So maybe want to rethink that strategy and have one of the ringside attendants take those back to the dressing room after you enter the ring. I mean, I understand you're from the homeowners association, you're the neighborhood grill master, but those tools, they're coming in handy for your opponents a little too much lately out there.
Yeah, that, and everybody steals his hat. I mean, that's just a given.
I know.
That is a great hat, though.
It is a great hat.
Nice hat.
Well, I'm funny about
I'd like to have it, but I'm not going to steal it from you.
if somebody else puts on one of my hats, I won't wear it again. I'm just weird like that. And that's why I was joking. Oh, he's going to have to burn it after Seth Clayton Burns put it on last night. So,
which, I mean, who knows? Maybe he has a whole closet full of those hats.
yeah, it could be.
As Buford Beaumont put it, he lost his hat. Do you
I remember that.
Buford Beaumont made an appearance at one of our shows not too long ago. I think
I've seen him at a couple of them.
Yeah,
hovering around outside.
Yeah, and I introduced him to the crowd, man, and they applauded, gave great respect. As soon as I was like, yeah, he wrestled with us back in the 90s, man, the applause started right away. That crowd really appreciates the long, illustrious history of this promotion.
That's something that you touched on there, Matt, that we've all discussed before. The AIWF in this area, and with us, because we was AIWF for a long time before we took the Mid Atlantic moniker, when the AIWF started growing. But especially the Mid Atlantic area, we have always had a different breed of fan than everybody else. I mean, it's and it's so awesome that our fans, they expect certain things. They know that we've been around for a long time. I had a kid, swear to God, had a kid looked like about 7 or 8 years old, come to me last night and said, I want your autograph. I said, why you want my autograph? I ain't nobody. He looked at me, he said, you started the AIWF. You are somebody. I was like,
wow.
I mean, and this kid knew that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our fans are near and dear and special to us. And there's no other fans on this planet like them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his parents probably watched us when they were 7, stuff. So
yeah, that's the difference between AIWF and other promotions. Not knocking any other promotions. I mean, everybody's got to get their start sometime. We got our start, in the early 90s and have been going ever since. So we have that advantage. But the difference between us and other promotions is when you go see another promotion, let's go see some wrestling. Let's go see wrestling. When you come to see us, let's go see the AIWF.
Yeah.
Let's come to see the AIWF. It's not just wrestling. It's you are going to see the AIWF product because you know that it's going to deliver.
Right.
Definitely gonna get your money's worth, that's for sure.
I've never heard it put like that, but that is so true.
Yeah.
We in that aspect, we can be put in the category of WWE. People say, hey, I want to go see WWE. They said, well, I want to go see the AIWF. You're right. But we've been around so long that we have developed this I guess following.
Yeah.
That's what we are to them. We're not just a wrestling company like everybody else is.
Absolutely. So let's keep it moving. Television championship was on the line. We didn't know what the stipulation was going to be before we got there, and after we got there, we found out with good reason why we didn't know. They originally wanted to do a tables match, but our wrestlers had busted all of the spare tables we have. Then they said, well, let's do the same concept, but do a door match, because we've seen that in the past. Somebody bring a door into the ring and smashed it like going through a table. But it turns out our wrestlers have already used up all of those that we had in stock, which was quite a few. So then they just said, okay, well, let's just use a board. And so they brought out a couple of sheets of plywood and had them at ringside. And it was basically a tables match, but we called it a boards match. And Brian, you know, I got all mixed up trying to explain it to the fans because it was confusing. And it was just more than a mouthful. And, but anyway, it was JT Moss challenging Mickey Fulp for the television title. And it was unfortunate the way it ended.
Yeah, that was if I was Mickey Fulp, I would not. That might have been a technical win, but he didn't beat JT Moss.
Well, I mean, he did technically put him through the board in that he did a move that knocked JT Moss off of the apron, and then his feet then went through the board.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's not in the spirit of the match, but on
Letter of the law.
technicality, he did win. I noticed, because I looked at, because I thought, when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, Mickey won there, and I could see the ref kind of looking down, and I could see the gears turning in his head, like, okay, he just went through the board. Okay, like I could see him thinking. It just took him a couple of seconds, but he was like, "Oh, yeah, ring the bell."
Yeah. And that new referee's doing a great job. Let me just say,
yes,
man.
I like him.
I'm very happy with him. Yeah, he is. He is a really young guy, but yeah, really, really good.
Oh, never mind.
What are we missing?
Nothing.
It's an
What the-
inside joke.
The audience.
That was it.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah,
Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, he's a really young kid, but I mean, as good as he is now, he's just only going to get better.
Yeah.
And so I see big things for him.
I like him. He's very
Yeah,
respectful.
me
too.
Super
Yeah.
nice guy. I
Yeah.
hope he keeps coming back.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yep. And I didn't get. I'm not. I shouldn't do it. I'm not. Or should I? Since I brought it
You'll
up,
get punched.
I told him last night. I was like, but the way you can tell somebody's a good referee is if you don't notice him, and and you barely notice him,
Mhm.
and then the name Audrey Edwards got brought up, and
I brought her up. Just say I brought her up.
And sorry, that's just a tribute. That's for anybody that out there that listens to Jim Cornette's podcast.
Oh
We
my
got that one.
God.
But anyway,
Did he rock her world like he supposedly rocked Missy Heights?
no,
Who did? Never mind.
Missy Heights going around saying Jim Ross rocked her world, man.
Jim
I
Ross
thought-
or Jim Cornette?
Jim Ross.
Ross.
Oh wow,
Ugh.
yeah, that's
I
Steve
know.
seen it.
I saw
Come
it.
on. No. Come on. Let's move back to Aubrey.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to throw it in there. Hey, I'm like, go get him, Jim. Although,
Slobber knocker.
not now, but 3 years ago. I'm like,
I
go
was
get
thinking
him.
that word kept going through my head, and I'm just like, no, don't
Yeah.
do it. Don't do it.
well, I mean, according to Jim's own
I will.
the humble way of putting it on his podcast, he did pretty well with the ladies when his time in Atlanta in the early 90s. So he doesn't understand why, but he doesn't care. He just said he
I
did.
don't understand why either, but
It's because he was on TBS. I mean,
Barbecue sauce.
He
Sure
was the
didn't
biggest
hurt.
announcer in the world.
yeah, he was. So, you got to remember the reach TBS had, especially in the South back then. If you,
oh yeah.
And that was back before Missy Hyatt had $9 million worth of facial plastic surgery.
yeah. And
It's going to explode any day now.
well, and you got to remember too, TBS was so powerful. The movie Beastmaster was considered a bust, and still they started playing it on TBS, and that's where it got its cult following.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, was that
No,
Mark? Hamill?
Mark
No, that's
Singer.
Luke Skywalker.
Mark Singer.
Mark Singer.
I got the Mark part right.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
The beginning of that movie, that opening scene, that shows you the origin of the Beastmaster, I still say could fit into any horror movie to this day. It is so weird and creepy.
Hey,
Never.
what Tanya Roberts in that?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
But anyway, if you hadn't seen it, kids, check it out. Beastmaster. And when you
But
see
anyway, we were
a
talking
tree
about
that looks like
Aubrey
it's got light bulbs hanging off of it, if you're squeamish, you better turn away. That's all I can say. But then we moved on and we had the toolbox match, which is a favorite of all of us old timers. Because
still to this day, 20 plus years later, the only match in history that only the AIWF has the balls to do.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants to start doing it now, it's only because we said that. So blow me.
Yeah.
But this
20 years, nobody else had the balls to do it but us.
Yeah. Speaking of balls, there was a bowling ball in the toolbox last night.
It has,
you could say bowling ball to the tool.
Yeah.
And if you think about that it was Seth Burns, that's a double entendre.
One blue ball created several more. You know, it was just they were like Mogwai, they expand or no, multiply.
The thing about this match, this is a match that you needed to be there. As the person who's trying to get these matches, you know, on TV and recorded, this was a match that, as hard as I tried, I still probably missed 25 to 30% of what was going on.
Oh, it was chaos.
It was chaos. And it was just, that is one of those ones that you have to be there. Yeah. Like, you'll get to see what you're going to get to see when you watch it on the AIWF network is pretty much a highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see everything that happened in that match.
Same way with the fan cam footage. I got hit twice during that match. And I know it's my responsibility to stay out of the wrestler's way, but there was bodies flying everywhere in that. And try as I may, I couldn't. And I think it's first or second hit, you're going to hear me make a comment, Rick Diesel, I need hazard pay.
That even happened with Tim.
That was a little scary last night. It reminded me of the night that Jack and Clara snatched up Rose Tyson, you know, where it was just bodies flying everywhere. And it wasn't that I was afraid that I was going to be hurt by anybody in the crowd, but you know, a stray wrestler flying over the top rope, I was concerned. You know, it was just, it was nuts. But I will say this, you know, I had been saying I was worried about Ty Tyson. Boy, he was dead serious last night, and his purpose. So was Joe Harrison. But so was Case and Kane and Pretty Boy Lane. Did you see the look in their face after they got in the ring and were waiting on their opponents? I mean, Lane looked like he was almost starting to foam at the mouth. I mean, he was ready to go.
Yeah.
And Case and Kane and Pretty Boy Lane, if you don't think they are extra double tough bastards after that match, you are dumb as a bag of hammerheads. I mean, it's just... They proved if anybody had any doubt, I already knew they were tough. But I mean, good God, man. Woo, what a match last night.
I think their antics sometimes overshadow how tough they are and how good they are. Because you know, you see them and you just, so many people just hate their guts. And then they take some of the silly, you know, the silliness and the antics that they do, and they really miss how tough they are.
Well, that's a strategy of a lot of wrestlers is go out there and act like a goofball, so your opponent thinks you're a clown and doesn't take you seriously, and then that's how you win.
And not just speaking about the trendsetters, I'm seeing the same thing with Seth Clayton Burns. He comes in, everybody thinks he's this funny, goofy guy to be funny and do all that, but he is obviously becoming a mastermind of Seth Clayton Burn Enterprises. Whatever he is doing, he is taking names and God, I hate it when I try to say something and it didn't come out right. But yeah, so he's making a difference in that locker room also.
He's a tough one too. He got bounced around quite a bit last night, you know, and kept coming back for more.
Yeah, I've said that before. I mean, he's a little guy, and you know, he doesn't pack much of a punch, but he will put himself in harm's way to make sure that his guys win. I mean, even if it means that he has to take a few lumps from a guy who weighs 200 pounds more than he does, he'll do it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you gotta, as annoying as he is, I mean, you gotta give it up to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
OTB, one tough bastard.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then moving on from there, we got to our Mid Atlantic Championship, and I think all of that, all of us who have been around for a while and remember Justin Flash in the early days and remember him, since his last comeback, we're really looking forward to this because he went up against the undefeated Savage Kincaid, and I don't, I don't think Savage Kincaid underestimated him. I don't think so at all. I just think he was surprised that he kept hitting him with devastating move after devastating move after devastating move, and Justin Flash kept kicking out. I don't
Right.
think he's ever gone up against somebody with the will and the just stubborn as a mule attitude like Justin Flash, because there were several times in that match that Justin Flash would kick out and he would look around like, God, what have I got to do? I got to kill this guy?
Still kick
Well,
out.
Yeah, just
I
about.
tried. I tried.
Well, I'm telling you, like, I just, there's a week from, it may be this coming Friday on an episode of the Cyber Zone. It's Alpha Omega and Justin Flash from the Wentworth Armory. So if you want to see Justin Flash, if you want to compare Justin Flash last night to back then, 15 years ago or longer, and watch him against these big guys. They've always been Justin Flash's Corey Etzel back, when Corey was really big Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven here back when he was Alpha Omega with the Fight Club. And now Savage Kincaid. Justin Flash has always been able to get in there and find a way with big guys.
Mhm.
And it just goes to show, how good he really is. And if there's anybody out there that can testify to how Justin Flash is that man sitting in front of that weird moon right there.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah.
I tried many a time. You can't stop him. I'm honestly sure the kid's a cyborg. He is a 5'5" Terminator, because no matter what you do, he keeps coming.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, he's
Yeah,
got he might be part cyborg, but I know he has the ability to procreate because I met his children. So he's not full robot, but
Yeah, well.
Yeah, because
right.
I mean, I've been in there with him too. I remember when he first came on the scene, and everybody talking about the hot new guy, Justin Flash, and I'm just like, yeah, right. I've seen guys like this come a dime a dozen. I'm
Mhm.
going to show everybody that this kid is just a flash in the pan, literally, and I'm gonna
No.
take him out. And I was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, what
You found out in a ladder match, didn't you, Brian?
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm gonna put this kid through a table, on the floor, and then that's gonna be the end of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back, and then okay, I'll get in a ladder match with him. That'll be it. And it wasn't. He just kept coming and kept coming. What shocked me back then, when he was only like 180 at the time, 180, 185. And I knew he was going to be fast, but what shocked me was his strength. It's
Mhm.
like the first thing we go to lock up. I mean, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Like, we go to lock up, he goes behind with a waist lock, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm expecting that, he's quick. He picks me up and throws me over his head like like I'm a bag of potato chips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, just the strength that he had at 185 was just, I was just shocked at how strong he was. But now that he's actually put on some weight, he's probably even stronger and has lost little to none of his speed.
Yeah.
I feel like we should change his gimmick up and just give him a bass drum and a pair of pink bunny ears.
Yeah. I honestly believe you could run the kid over with a car, try to pin him, he would kick out at one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably. Anyway, so if you hadn't figured it out already, Justin Flash is still your AIWF Mid Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. Savage Kincaid has had his first loss hung on him since he's been here. Nothing to be ashamed of. Savage Kincaid did all he could. I mean, you know, but I have a feeling if Savage Kincaid works his way into a rematch, things may be a little different because he's not going to be surprised when he runs into that ball of energy.
Well, and if your first loss is to the guy on the top of the ladder, then don't be ashamed.
Well,
no shame in that at all.
No, not at all. But also, what shocked me was not only did Flash hit him with the headbutt from the top rope, he also hit him with the move. I can't remember what he calls it right now. I'm lost, but he grabs their head and puts their head into his knee. He has finished so many people with that move, and he got the pin. He got the pin 1, 2, 3, but Kincaid was right back up. I mean, he barely got the 3. Savage Kincaid was right back up like he was just starting the match. I mean, he was holding his jaw. I mean, he obviously got knocked out, you know, for those 3 seconds, and Justin was able to pin him, but he sprung right back up and was walking around after taking moves that normally when after somebody takes them, they're laid out in the middle of the ring with, you know, all 4 limbs are just spread out. They're out.
And did you see the look on Justin Flash's face when that happened? I mean, he looked legitimately scared. He scrambled out of the ring.
Yeah, and I don't blame him one bit.
No, I don't either.
You got the win, take the win.
Yeah, grab the belt and run to the back, you know. But so
all right, guys, we knew it was coming. It's time.
All right,
I'm out.
Take care.
See ya.
All right,
boss man.
Hey, it's in good hands. Y'all knock them out. See you guys.
So we had money in the piggy bank again this year. Mr. Pigglesworth was hanging above the ring all night, but it was a little different this year. It was like a Royal Rumble. The match started with 4 guys, and the way you got eliminated was pinfall or submission, but falls counted anywhere, and every 90 seconds another guy came out to the ring, which produced a ton of great action. But it was like one of them old ECW shows from like 96 where people are just fighting through the crowd and fighting outside and just, I mean, it was basically, you know, the Dutch Inn on a Wednesday night in 1998, right? I mean, it was just, you know, there's just people fighting everywhere. But there was no cops to stop it. And and so anyway, they got down to the last 5, and when they did the last 5, the ladder came into play. Mr. Pigglesworth went live, as like I say, because you could not climb up and get the pig until we were down to the last 5 competitors. It's sort of like in the NFL, somebody's running along, they get stripped of the ball hits the ground, but there's no whistle and it's still live. So then the chaos starts, right? I say that's the most exciting thing in college and pro football is when there is a live football rolling around on the ground. You know, I was like that because if you watch football with me and that happens, I will shout every time at the top of my lungs, live ball, you know. And so that's kind of the way this thing felt. But then the ladder match started and Corey Etzel came out and he was the last one out. There were 4 guys left. So when Corey came out, I had on my list the entry order. And so I knew when Corey came out, okay, that's everybody. The ladder match starts. Well, Corey grabs the ladder and leaves. I mean, it was the damnedest thing I'd ever seen. He grabbed the ladder and left. And
now,
then
I did, by that match, had figured out how to do dual screen.
Oh, okay.
So you can, I mean, they were fast, and poor Tim tried to do the best he could, but he followed them, and then Corey disappeared into the back, came out, nobody else did. So I don't know what happened once they all went to the back, but
I can only assume they were out there
apparently left
fighting
them laying, huh?
I can only assume they were out there fighting with each other, because I go back, like I see them go around the building like fan cam. I got to go back in because Mecca Mercenary is still in the ring, and he's getting up because he'd kind of taken a little bit of a pounding before that happened, and he got up and he looks at me, and he's like, "Where did everybody go?" And I said, "Corey stole the ladder. They're chasing him," and he goes, "Oh, Corey stole the ladder? No problem." Now that we're having this conversation, you'll hear it on the fan cam, which I thought was kind of odd because I've never had a wrestler have a whole conversation with me during a match actively. It was so funny. And he goes, no problem. And he said, I have another ladder under the ring. And I was like, is that legal? And he ignored that comment and began searching for the ladder. But the problem was, I guess he didn't stash it himself because he didn't know where it was, but he found it and set it up. And then Corey came back in, climbed the ladder. David Parrish had actually come back around, had found it. I guess I don't know if he got out of the fight or figured out what was going on, but he had actually come back around to where the fans enter. I didn't see him at the time, but he told me after the show, he came back just as Corey went up and grabbed the pig. And he was like, well, damn it.
I missed that. See, this is another match that even though I tried this dual screen, I'm still only getting 75% of the match. Like I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have known unless he told me,
Yeah, I know. And so those are things that you miss if you're not there live. So, but anyway,
15 guys in a brawl all over the property of Veterans Park. You're not going to catch it all with 3 or 4 cameras. I mean, you just can't. I don't even think you could. You might be able to catch it all if you had like a Fox NASCAR type setup where you had like 25 cameras all over the place. You might be able to catch it all, but even then, I don't know. But the weird thing was, we had just found out earlier in the day that because Jeff Flowers is not healing up from this injury, that he's got the Mid Atlantic Tag Team titles were vacated last weekend by Crowley and Flowers. They're vacant. Corey Etzel was aware of that because he had seen the bulletin that went out online. And when he got the pig, him and Mecca just started to destroy it. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And then Corey said, we're cashing in the pig. We want the AIWF Mid Atlantic Tag Team titles. Now, at first I was like, wait, you can't do that. And Corey looked right at me and was like, why not? And I got to thinking, he's kind of right. They are vacant. This is for a shot at any title you want. If you take a shot at a champion and he can't defend, the title goes to you by forfeit. So, and then he called for you, Reagan, and it was on you at that point. But
at that point, I tried to radio to the back to see if there was anything I could do, and there was not. Bulldog was not happy with me at that point, but I think Corey said that if he didn't, he threatened me. He said if you don't, that he'll take over the AIWF.
Yeah, that he would sue and that he would own the AIWF. Which, I mean, I don't know that it would be that drastic, but yeah, I mean,
a big contract,
right, because that's the rules, is that they get a shot at any title at any time. Well, we want the tag titles. They're vacant. There's no one to defend them. So therefore, Corey Etzel, he came into that matchup, took the ladder, ran with it, and then came back with the AIWF Mid Atlantic Tag Team titles.
Yeah. So Corey went from
breaking a sweat.
From reading a poem off a blank sheet of paper while I was sitting in the ring with him at the last show and scaring me half to death, to striking gold. And we're just when you think Corey Etzel's down, no, you cannot sell that guy short. He is super smart. He's super skilled. Yeah. And I'm starting to think the whole mental breakdown and seeing my counselor was a ruse to make everybody let their guard down.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, he was just trying to make everybody think that he was obsessed with the Mid Atlantic title, and that the fact that he didn't win it from Flash had broken him. And I'm sure he was very disappointed that he didn't win, but I mean, he's a seasoned veteran. He's won titles, he's lost titles. I mean, this is nothing new to him. Yeah. And so, that's another thing, is I just assumed when he went up there and got the piggy, I just assumed he was going to cash in for a rematch for the Mid Atlantic title. That was my, I'm sure with a lot of other people, but no, he had a surefire plan of getting gold, and he executed it, and it worked
flawlessly.
The
Now they
one
have to
thing you
defend
can
those
always trust about Corey Etzel is don't ever trust Corey Etzel.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but when my WTF moment of that whole situation was like I said, I'd never had a wrestler just have a discussion with me, White, rather in the middle of a match. But when Mecca told me, "Oh, the ladder's gone. Don't worry, I've got another one," I was just like, "Huh?" And it didn't occur to me at the time, but as I was driving home last night, I was like, "Man, they had this thing all plotted out. This
Mhm.
had to be for weeks in advance because it was just like Mecca knew exactly what to do, when to do it." Because when he said, "Where's everybody?" I was like, Corey stole the ladder and left with it. I was expecting maybe some, like, what is he thinking? I'm in here by myself. Oh, no, that's fine. Don't worry.
All part of the plan.
Yeah. So kudos to them, man. They are
Yeah,
the
you got to give
new.
it up to them,
A-Team
whether or
van.
not you like it. They
Yeah.
they executed a flawless plan.
Yeah. The only thing I could
The
think was,
A-Team The
go ahead.
A-Team van was parked outside, and Hannibal was smoking the cigar, loving when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing I can think, because I've never seen anything like this happen in wrestling. The only thing I can think of that's close to this precedent, I'm gonna go way back to 1987, in Meisenheimer, North Carolina. Stephen Hayes, you let me know when you figure out where I'm going. Pfeiffer University, in the gym, an episode of NWA Pro Wrestling and Worldwide taping. Jim Cornette comes out, rants that the Rock and Roll is defending against Tully and Arn. He can't believe it. The Midnight's been chasing them. They're the U.S. Tag Team Champions. He calls Ricky Morton's father drunk. It's a pretty hilarious promo if you ever want to go back and watch it. Morton comes out and slaps him and says, "When we're done with Tully and Arn, we want to fight with the Midnight Express." Well, Bob Caudle had explained earlier that it was a no DQ match set for TV. So when the Rock and Roll come out to the ring, Midnight attacks them. You ain't gonna smack around our manager and get away with it. And they hurt Ricky Morton. And the referee came out or something and told JJ Dillon, "Hey, we're gonna have to do a postponement." Da 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 da. No, the match was signed. And JJ Dillon chewed out Jim Crockett and said, "We got to have this match now. It's on the line." Like, right, we're on the air. The match has been signed. It's no DQ. Sorry, the man got hurt. But here we are. And that's the only thing that I can think. And anyway, they Rock and Roll tried like hell, but they ended up losing. They just couldn't overcome the odds.
Yeah.
And we had new tag team champions.
This is the one thing I noticed, because unfortunately Corey made me get in the ring, which I don't like. But like, it made me think of like Buddy and these littler guys that take on Corey. Like, when I got in the ring and you're in the ring with them, that's when you understand how big and imposing they are.
Yeah.
Just how much space they take up in that ring.
Because I mean, at that point, I had no idea what was going to happen. None. So when you're in there and you're exactly right. When you're in there with them, it is scary. And anybody that's able to take them on like Buddy and Metallico did, like, that's
Corey doesn't have hands, he has paws.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's been overhand chopped by him will agree, I'm sure, with that.
Chopped, punched, it don't matter.
Yeah,
it don't matter. Corey Etzel is a big man that covers the ground that he walks on. Okay.
Yeah.
And not to steal a term about a WWE wrestler, but people say Triple H is the cerebral assassin. I wholeheartedly disagree, because that's Corey Etzel.
Oh no, Corey is the smartest man in the room, and I will give him that every day.
He was last night before the show. He was teaching the young guys in the dressing room about Dr. D. David Schultz, and that was hilarious to hear him doing those.
A perfect.
Yeah.
Dr. D impression.
Oh my God. Yeah. So kids, if you hadn't heard of Dr. D. David Schultz, just put it in YouTube and you will find a gold mine worth of stuff and be like, how did he get away with saying stuff like that back then? Oh, I'd love to tell you it was a different time, but the things he said back then were as offensive in the 80s as they would be considered
Oh, I don't know
today.
this person. I'm gonna have to Google them.
I think we saw the one segment at his house with his wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing out of the bedroom anyway? How do you expect me to eat this stuff? Did you know that like the USA Network studios got called, and like I think the cops were called by some people thinking that there was some domestic abuse going on because of that segment, you know?
Wow.
So, but yeah, that kid, and a good one when he goes on the Morton Downey Jr. show, and Captain Lou's on there, and what was his name? Jim Wilson, who was trying to expose the wrestling business. But
or was it? Yeah, was that pre or post Stossel?
That was post Stossel. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was already a bounty hunter by then, but
yeah.
But you gotta go down the rabbit hole and search that. Dr. D. David Schultz. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming up next, because we always say our favorite wrestling show is our next one. And our next one is going to be Saturday, June 22nd, just in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks now, at Veterans Park. And look at that poster. I see Con O'Kelly on that poster. Happy birthday, Con O'Kelly. That's been all over. I ain't sending you no money, though. Happy birthday. And it's all his social media today. You'll know what I'm talking about. But I'm looking forward to seeing Con O'Kelly back in the AIWF Mid Atlantic ring. And see, Mason Matthews is going to be there, looks like. Who else am I missing?
Ryan Mantis.
Yeah, Ryan's going to be there. He and Tiger going to be reunited again. And bad news for Justin Flash, because JAC has made it clear that he doesn't think that Justin Flash is deserving of the title because he lost it over the winter break. And so I don't know if I can't help but think that JAC is going to be looking for Justin Flash. I don't know if he's going to be having an official match with him, but we'll find out in the weeks to come. And of course, on top of the pyramid there, doing her best Billy Idol impression, Clara, the women's world champion, Clara Carter, is going to be there as well. And so that is going to take place on the 22nd of June. Tickets go back to the regular prices, $8 for the floor, $6 for the bleachers. We'll get the bell going at 7 p.m. Mickey Fulb, THC is going to be there. It's just going to be all kinds of fun. We're going to try to get 4 Mid Atlantic episodes in the can for you that night. And we hope you join us in person. It's going to be a lot of fun. Teas, treats will be there. Just all kinds of excitement. And I always get excited when I see JAC and Clara are coming, because they have a connection with the Mount Airy crowd that's unlike any other. It's not a positive relationship, but it's an interesting one, you know.
Yes.
It's like when somebody that God, I'm gonna admit, y'all gonna think I'm so sadistic for this. I knew a couple, good friends with both of them before they ever got married, right? And they had children together. And they split up. And right after they split up, you could tell they were in a competition to impress the children. Like one parent would take them to the beach one week, and then the next parent would take them to the beach the next week. And then, you'd see them giving them gifts. One parent would, and then the other parent would, which is not supposed to do, if the parents split up. But it was funny. And just to see that tension, because it wasn't happening to me. If I was in that situation, I would be angry that somebody was be entertained by it. But sorry, that's just the way human nature is. Sometimes we're sadistic. We enjoy others' pain. It makes us focus not on our own problems. It's the same reason we watch those people act a fool on those cop shows. Makes you feel better about yourself. Well,
Jerry Springer was the thing.
I may be stupid, but I'm not that stupid, and so it helps.
It's so bad after all.
That's right, man. I got it good compared to them guys. I need to stop.
You talk about the relationship of JAC and Clara to the Mount Airy crowd, and how, and you're right. Most of the Mount Airy crowd despises them, and they feel the same way. However, they do have that small pocket of loyal fans. I mean, you said, like, I said before, even when they left, you would still see people showing up with their Fighters Club shirts on. So they, it's just, I mean, there's always been like that. There's always been that, there were the Horsemen, even when they were the most hated group, they always had that, that small loyal fan group, and I was one of them.
Like those fish that swim in and out of sharks' mouths to eat the little morsels that are left in their teeth.
The ones that pick their teeth.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like that, like Jack and Clara, those big sharks, and you still got, so it's a symbiotic relationship.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I will say, I've been to a few wrestling weddings. Jackie Anderson's wrestling wedding many years ago was okay. Brian and Reagan's
no more.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna get into
Sorry,
how that worked.
sorry. Sorry.
It was a fun time and a great party. It was, and I learned that chains can actually recite a whole paragraph and not use anything but swear words, and it makes perfect sense. Now, he doesn't talk like that all the time, but that night he did, and it was quite impressive. Brian and Reagan, impressive wedding, great wrestling wedding. Remember that to this day. Outdoors, great wrestling wedding. JAC and Clara, awesome wrestling wedding. It was one, you normally go to weddings and they're fun, I guess, whatever you like to see, and you eat good and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes, very rarely, there's a little extra something. And so they'll always have a soft spot in my heart for that. That was fun. That was a fun night. We had to drive way up into the country for it, but and the preacher at that Baptist church, when the AIWF crew walked in, you and Reagan weren't in, Brian. You and Reagan.
No, we were still fans then. We weren't.
Oh, y'all hadn't got back.
I don't think we had actually started doing anything.
Let me tell you, we're all sitting on the back row. We're joking. We're cutting up. We're having a good time like that. And the preacher comes up, because I guess he's looking at us thinking, oh boy, these are going to be the ones that start the trouble tonight. And it's like, hey, y'all doing just fine. Just fine. Y'all having a good time? Yes. This is a lovely church you got here, sir. It's like, thanks. And I could tell he's trying to read us. And I was like, oh, just to make it easy for you. And Jinky's on my right. Rick Diesel's here. Ty Tyson's here. Like that. And I was like, just so you know whose team we're on: Catholic, Baptist, unaffiliated, Viking. I don't know about the rest of them. Like, yeah, he's just looking at us like, what the hell? But he was nice. I mean, everybody there was nice. And so that's fun memory. So I guess I need to read some ads, because we've been going for a long time and not paid any bills. So let me run through these things fairly quickly here. I mean, it's $10 a month. I can run through them quickly without anybody getting too mad, I would hope. We'll see. Premier Auto Detailing, hands down the best car cleaning service in town. You can call 336-883-5722 for more information. They do commercial jobs, residential jobs. If you need that car cleaned, whether you need it detailed or just washed, just a normal wash, they got you covered. They serve the Mount Airy, Surry County area. They'll be glad to help you out. They'll give you a free estimate depending on what you got going on. So anything from your active running car to, an old jalopy that's been up on blocks for 20 years and you finally got it running, they can help you make it look showroom new. So give them a call. Premier Auto Detailing, 336-883-5722 for more information. That's our friends at Premier Auto Detailing. And be sure and tell them that AIWF Ringside Wrestling sent you. Tees Creations Custom Apparel, boy, they are all over. Their TikTok is crazy, man. All the different types of clothing and merchandise you can get. They handle the wrestling merchandise now. So if you wrestle for AIWF Mid Atlantic, get with people at Tees Creations. You can see Rick Diesel, Atrista. And if you got an idea for a t-shirt, cap, anything, man, get on it. You don't have to use pro wrestling tees, or not that they're not great, but if you want to keep it local, keep it close to home, and keep more of the money that your name generates, best user, you got a t-shirt factory at your disposal, my friends. TeesCreations22.com, Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook, TikTok, Tees Creations, all there, and on Shopify. So be sure you check them out. And fans, they got all kinds of things, not just what you see here, but check out them on all the social platforms. That TikTok will give you is loud. It's loud and it moves very quickly. So, but check it out. It's really cool. They do a great job with their TikTok. But it's T's Creations, and we thank them for their continued support. If you want to get in on this freight train of greatness, you give us $10 a month. We'll do a read just like you heard. A lot of times we get into more detail, but we've been going a long time tonight, so I feel like we need to keep things moving. And but sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. 30 seconds to 1 minute read every week, $10 a month. You can't beat that. There's no lower pricing in wrestling advertising anywhere that I'm aware of. If you know of any, please bring it to my attention. But you can reach out to us on our Instagram or just email us at AIWF20@hotmail.com. $10 a month. If we take a week off, we're not going to bill you for that. You know, you get 4 reads for $10. And if we do a bonus show, like we did in the middle of the week this week, because we didn't get, well, that wasn't really a bonus show. It's kind of make up for last Sunday, so never mind. But if we do a bonus show, we'll get you maybe, possibly, I don't know. We'll probably get you a read in there for nothing. So we appreciate your loyalty. Also, let me tell you about branch management. If you need lawn care service or you need hanging baskets, anything to make your property look more beautiful around Mount Airy, these are the folks that you need to call. They got you covered. They can do any kind of landscaping work, pretty much pressure washing. They'll clean out those gutters for you, whatever you need. And the best thing is that they offer free estimates. You get in touch with them, tell them Ringside Wrestling sent you. 336-648-2487. That's 336-648-2487. And as you know, I guess we could take down the moving logo now because we've pretty much established that we're not on Roku anymore. We've got 2 channels on YouTube, the AIWF Network and AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Some of the same things on both channels, but we try to keep the programming fairly exclusive to each one. The fan cam is on Ringside Wrestling. That's where this show is archived, although we do put it on the network now as well. So just check us out. AIWF Network, AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Ring the bell, like, subscribe. You know the deal. Every YouTuber tells you to do that. T's Treats, best concessions in wrestling. I'm sorry. They just are. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
We got that new chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's the best chicken sandwich I've ever had in my entire life.
Ooh, that's some big talk.
It is some big talk.
You live in the land of Chick-fil-A and Zaxby's around here.
Okay, well, it puts him to shame.
Oh, boy. Wow.
I've never had, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was so tender.
And
like the meat was tender and the breading was very crispy.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, it's just, it was very good.
Between that and the chili cheese fries that we get, that chili that she has.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I saw a ton of people with these bananas last night. And they were talking about how good they were.
Yeah, Tim Stone ate one of them. Yeah, he was going on and on about how good they were.
And don't
forget, he was eating during intermission. He was like, I gotta get this banana eaten before the show starts back up. And I'm like, well, maybe you can just hold that with one hand and camera with the other.
Wouldn't that be hilarious, a cameraman? That would be so independent wrestling, right?
It would. It would.
Yeah. So,
you know, they also have the nuts, the bag of nuts.
Oh, the Bavarian nuts.
Oh, man, they're so good too.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had anything there that wasn't fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I also had their milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
I also had their milkshake last night, their cookies and cream milkshake. Apparently, I was eating a lot last night. Man, her milkshake, the milkshakes are the best milkshakes I've ever had. And I used to think that was Chick-fil-A, and she's done more. It's better.
Yeah.
They bring all the boys to the yard.
Oh, that's deep cut. Not 87 deep, but that's still pretty good. But anyway, yeah, T's Treats. If you want to call them and find out where they're going to be, use that number right there, 336-755-8204. Oh, man, and they're all over. That's why Rick Diesel had to leave. He had to go collect them from their gig at Walmart in Mount Airy today. So, and also we hadn't put together anything pretty yet for it, but we've got another sponsor out of the Lynchburg, Virginia area. It's a comic book shop. Oh boy. And let's see here. If I can find it's some friends of ours from back in the day. That,
Secondhand Heroes.
Yeah, Secondhand Heroes. I don't know why I'm struggling with that name so much, but
I had sent it to you last week. If you scroll it, I guess.
Yeah, did you send it text or Facebook Messenger?
I thought I sent it Facebook Messenger.
Okay, listen to this. The name of the business is Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains. We buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle, specializing in collectible toys, both vintage and modern, comics, Magic the Gathering, video games, console, and arcade cabinets to play. Very important there. Arcade cabinets in the store. So if you like playing old time 80s arcade games, they got them. And so anybody that knows me knows that anytime I see a retro arcade, like I lose my mind. We've got one here in Concord called the Basement. You pay the guy a fee at the door, and you can pay and you can play all day, and they sell beer in there. So I mean, it's just yeah, take an Uber there because you're going to need one to get home. Because and so and then we've got Brian and Reagan know a guy, and I know his brother. I don't know if I've met Scott in person before, but a retro arcade up there in Winston that does well. I mean, hell, every time the Foo Fighters come through town, they stop and play there. I mean, that's so retro.
Well, actually, he has to bring the arcade games to them.
Oh, okay.
But they request every time they come through. They have Scott bring them some of their favorite arcade games in backstage.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, that's
awesome.
That's great. That's a good way. That is so good for concert promoters around here, right? I was like, that want to bring them in, and oh yeah, they love playing this area. That Scott guy with those arcade games that they'll ask it for him. So it got to be great to be a rock star. And they're older now, because instead of like drugs and broads, they're like, hey, could you get us some of those 80s arcade game and a cheese Danish? I'm sorry. It's funny. Life comes full circle, man.
When you have Karate Champ and Dragon's Lair on your concert rider, it's like, yeah, I need this, and no green M&Ms.
Yeah. So they actually host tournaments. Monday night they have a D&D tournament. It looks like a video game competition and so much more. Something for the collector and gamer in us all. Come game with us. Call with questions. This message should get across. Oh, okay. Sorry, that was a personal note for me, not copy. Whoops. You can't put it in the middle like that, man. You got to put those guidance notes at the top of the bottom. Open 11 to 7. Open at 11 a.m. 7 days a week. They close when the dice stop rolling. Can you imagine if the comic book store in A Big Bang Theory had been like this? Boy, Sheldon and Leonard would have never left. I mean, just to go to work, and
if I lived any closer to Lynchburg, I'd be there every day.
God almighty, yes. So it's not actually in Lynchburg. I'll get the address for you as quick as I can find it. I thought I had some pictures here somewhere. Yeah, I do. Hang on a second. I want to show you guys this place. Oh yeah, there's a lot of pictures. Hang on. We'll get back to wrestling in just a second, but I'm going to take care of our advertisers here, because this place. Oh, I didn't realize it was that many. Yeah, it's going to take me some time to put together an actual commercial for this thing, but we can just talk about it for the time being. Hang on just a second. Let me share these images with you here. Take a look at our.
Well, I do know that they have drawers of loose action figures for sale.
Yeah.
So they have drawers and drawers and drawers for you to go through and get you some vintage. And I guess now that even if it's from the 90s and the 80s, that's what my child told me, that if it's 20 years or older, it's vintage. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
So vintage loose action figures.
Look at that. Look at that. I mean,
that's a nice setup.
Yeah. Look at all those cards, boxes and boxes and boxes. I don't know if those are all Magic cards, but you can see the arcade cabinets. There's a Terminator 2 cabinet and a Super Pac-Man cabinet. Let's see what's the name. Oh, yeah. Look, Funko Pops. And you see the tournament tables there. There's another cabinet. I can't tell what that is. Looks like old
X-Men, maybe.
I was thinking Galaga, but I don't know.
Looks more like a Galaga.
Not with that.
There's a big rock action figure and one of the Gremlins. Boy, they got a little bit of everything. Look at that. Oh, they got a Dragon's Lair machine in there. Boy, that'll eat up some quarters, kids. I'm telling you.
Quickly.
Gotta do it when you hear the beat.
I'll tell you, yeah, and I'll tell you this, kids. I would recommend, just because we couldn't do this back in our day, go online and read a guide. Watch the YouTube video before you put 1 quarter in that thing. You need to know what you're getting into. That has to be one of the hardest video games ever made. And but Dirk swings a mean sword, so it's a lot of fun. I see a Simpsons cabinet there. I loved that game in the early 90s. That was so much fun. Oh, look at this. Action figures everywhere, just about everything. There's a He-Man Adam action figure, a bunch of G.I. Joes. There's
Ric Flair Renko. Yeah, Renko.
Yeah, is that a Princess Leia?
Yep.
Yeah.
It says Epstein didn't kill himself, so that makes me think it's not an authentic Kenner early 80s. Kind of a give. Ooh, look at all those comic books.
Oh,
That
look, it
like
was a Galaga.
Marvel shit from back in the day right there, that Boba Fett.
Yep.
It's got that look. It looks like a treasure trove.
Yes, it does.
My boy ain't ever done nothing half-assed, that's for sure.
Oh, and they've got a Turtles in Time cabinet. I played it on Super Nintendo. I played it a couple of times in the arcade. I can get to the beginning of about halfway through the second stage on 1 quarter. So I'm decent at it.
I
always
they got a claw machine.
Yeah, they sure do. I see Yosemite Sam, I think, and a Smurfette in there. Look at that imposing. See, I wouldn't want that in my house. That action figure of Brock Lesnar right there. I mean, that just totally reeks of something that would come to life and kill you in a horror movie.
It's the poltergeist clown.
Yeah. Only with, really, farm boy strength. Can you imagine? But looks like all kinds of WWE stuff, books, action figures. There's kind of a wide angle shot of the store. Yeah, it wouldn't do for me to go in there.
That's
I'd be
nerd heaven right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, look at that in the retro games. I still have a PS3. You know why? I keep it in my bedroom because I actually downloaded Dragon's Lair 1 and 2 and Space Ace from the PlayStation Store a few years ago, and they upgraded them to HD, and I've got it saved on that, and you can't get it on the 4 or 5, and so I keep the 3 just for that because it's stored to that device, so I can play those. Yeah, and the good thing, Stephen Hayes, on that one, on the Dragon's Lair thing, it gives you the option. It'll show you the D-pad and the buttons down at the bottom of the screen. And when you hear the sound that it makes, if you glance down, it'll show you what to do.
Sweet.
But you still got to be quick because you don't react as soon as you hear the sound, you're dead. So
how's that? If you got 1, 2, and Space Ace, the only one you're missing is Cliffhanger.
Yeah, but I watched the old Starcade video game TV show the other day where they played Cliffhanger, the whole show, and it made me really not like it.
Yeah.
It really did not like Cliffhanger. I don't ever remember seeing it when I was a kid anywhere. I saw it on that TV show, but I don't remember seeing it in the arcade.
Yeah, we had a local arcade that had it in for maybe about like 2 months, and I wasted way too much money on it. So
Yeah, those Laserdisc games were quarter eaters, man. That was for sure.
yep.
Let's see. Oh, there's a Final Fight machine. I spent many.
AC says we have cliffhanger.
They have
Of course
of
course he does.
Stephen Hayes. You're gonna have to take a trip to
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go see my boy.
Yep, it can't be denied now. This is a great store, though, man. I'm telling you, you're right, Brian. It's like every nerd's dream come true. Oh, there's retro Playboys in there. I just noticed that. Here, let me go back one. Look at this.
Eh,
I don't see them on the rack, so they're cleverly placed. I guess they're in the drawers.
Yeah.
I'm so immature. Oh my God. You can tell I'm getting my nerd on. I'm gonna have to get off this ad pretty quick here because look at that. Oh, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Fearsome Flush. I had forgotten all about that from the Real Ghostbusters. Lord, they got everything. They got everything. Oh, Castle Grayskull. Santa Claus brought that to me one year. Yeah, I had a Castle Grayskull. I even had the thing you could put on top of it that had the flying talon, the thing that could break space and time. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and there it is. Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains. Ah, boy. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yes, it does.
It really.
The only thing that's missing standing outside of that's Jay and Silent Bob. Ace and Stevie.
No kidding. Somebody call Kevin Smith. Let's see here. All right, so
well, I do have something real quick to share. I just got a message from a very unhappy Corey Edsel.
Why? He just won tag team title. He struck gold.
He says, tell him I said Matt Classic can stick his world tag title rankings up his ass.
All right, there you have it, Matt Classic. You stick your world tag team title rankings up your ass. That's from Corey Edsel. And don't even bother reaching out to me.
To be fair to Matt Classic, they just won the titles, so I mean, maybe they haven't had time to adjust them yet. I haven't seen the rankings myself, but
I'm not arguing with Corey.
Far be it from me to disagree with Corey Edsel. So yeah, stick it up your ass, Matt Classic.
Yeah,
I disagreed with Corey once. I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, anytime Corey's ever brought something up to me, like we were arguing balls and strikes as far as wrestling rules, he's always been able to bring something up that adds precedent to his argument. So I respect that. He's like a wrestling lawyer. Well, Your Honor, back in 1856, the case of the Green River Bandit, so yeah, kudos to him for that.
Abraham Lincoln didn't do it that way.
So anyway, the WWE moved their storylines along just fine this week. Nothing really major except AJ Styles made like he was gonna retire and then beat up Cody Rhodes. So I guess they're not done yet. I didn't see the segment. I'd been up since like 4:30 on Friday morning. I fell asleep before they came out there. I could show you
see Mark Henry and John Cena.
Well,
yeah, I saw that years ago. Same deal.
All right, then you saw the segment.
Okay, good.
I do know there's rumors swirling around Cody Rhodes having a classic manager now coming to the WWE. I don't know
since Arn left AEW.
Yeah,
boy, if Arn Anderson shows up in the WWE, boy, it's going to be even harder to try to get Brock for a decent price at your local independent show.
Yeah,
add a little, add 100 or two to that.
I've actually heard Arn's wanting to spend more time working with Brock, doing the independence local. So
that's what he says on the podcast. Any truth to the rumor that Arn has broken away from Conrad Thompson with the Arn show?
I haven't heard yet. No,
he's still doing it with Paul Bromwell. But I mean, I saw somebody post something online that said Arn has finally broken away from Conrad Thompson. I'm like, why would he want to do that? That's who put the damn podcast on the map. But
it's Conrad money.
Yeah. So
the one thing from WWE related, and I will give, NXT got Jordan Grace back in.
yeah, they did. And was she on NXT or was she on no, she was on NXT. Yeah.
Yep. And we had a huge TNA chant on NXT, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's something you never thought you'd hear.
Oh yeah, we talked. I was like, we talked, and then you were.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the midweek show we had to do. Yeah, where did you like my joke about the Cheesecake Factory? I don't know if you heard it, but I just said I didn't want Jordan Grace getting a big head now that she's on NXT, you know, and going into establishment and be like, "Don't you know who I am? I demand a good table," and the employees know what to say. Well, yes, ma'am, but this is a PetSmart. The Cheesecake Factory's next door.
Right.
I stole that joke from Bill Maher.
That's Brian loves her. Like he has a thing for her. So
he's got good taste.
What can I say? I like a woman that I know could take me in a fight. What can I say?
Yeah.
Motion seconded. Motion
seconded. That means you think I could take you in a fight?
Oh, yeah.
I have taken you in a fight. Never mind. Yeah, I have.
It's been well documented.
It is well documented.
Brian Danzig, John Moxley. I ain't messing with anybody until they bleed with me.
You can go on with it. I was going to talk about AEW stuff, but if you want to keep with,
let me just do this real quick because I think this is something that we as serious wrestling fans have to consider. This is a big deal coming up. They're going to do Clash at the Castle in a few weeks. Drew McIntyre has his shot at Damian Priest for the world title that, you know, he was kind of robbed of at WrestleMania, but I mean, that was his fault for causing that. If he'd just left the ring, everything would have been fine. Kissed his wife, walked away, but he had to get up and CM Punk's face. And we hadn't seen CM Punk in a couple of weeks, but the last time we saw him, he was playing mind games with Drew McIntyre. If McIntyre does not win the title at Clash at the Castle, I mean, is that like a major roadblock for him? I mean, I know they're going to put him and Punk together probably for SummerSlam. Punk should be healed and back by then, I would hope.
Hopefully he doesn't take a step and have some Kevin Nash where you move one wrong way and tear a quad. So
but I don't know. I'm concerned that Drew McIntyre, if he loses this match against Damian Priest, and he's got two more weeks to prepare for it. So I just go around the horn. What do you guys think? I mean,
I honestly think Punk cost him the belt. That's the only call I make, because as much as I would like to see the belt on Drew, and I'm not one to say, you know, he deserves it because he has earned it, but I don't want to see Priest made that quick a transitional champion. You know, so I think they use it to further Punk and Drew.
Yeah,
I've kind of got the same gut feeling too. Although I want it so bad for Drew to win it in his home country.
Yeah,
you know, can you imagine the roof would come off that place, man, if he wins it?
Oh Lord, yeah.
But I don't. Do you think the crowd in Scotland, if CM Punk interferes in that match, let's say the referee gets knocked into the middle of next week and CM Punk slides in the ring and gives him a GTS, do you think the crowd like begins to head toward riot, or would they cheer CM Punk? You think they would really like?
I'd lean more toward riot, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see one.
Yeah,
I'd love to see CM Punk have to run out of that building like Bailey did down here in Charlotte that night. She screwed over Charlotte Flair for the women's title. And I mean, 3 count, bell, and Bailey grabbed the belt and was out of the arena before they finished making the announcement. And I looked at the guy next to me and I was like, as Gorilla Monsoon once said, like a thief in the night. Like the crowd didn't even have a chance to get at it.
I want Punk to have his bag packed by the back door waiting on him.
Yeah. And if anybody can pull it off, it's him, because You know,
Oh, yeah.
see him. I still like think back to the days of when he was champion on SmackDown. He had Serena Deeb with him, and Luke
Doc.
Gallows,
Yeah.
and they were his followers, and he was basically, you know, pretending that he was Jesus and preaching to everybody, and it was just,
Yeah.
it was so good, but it was like so creepy all at the same time. Like it's like sometimes you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, especially like when Larry was dating the girl in the wheelchair, and you're just like, I know this is funny, but just
Yeah.
like squirming. Just CM Punk can
It's
create those feelings.
yeah, a habitual line stepper.
Yes. But you know what? Like, what is that M. Night Shyamalan movie? Glass? Like
the one where Sam
Yeah.
Jackson's every time he takes a step, his bones break. Right?
Yeah, I mean, really, at this point, that's CM Punk. Every
Yeah.
time he gets in the ring, he like messes something up, something gets hurt, you know, and like I don't know, like I agree with Steve. Like, I don't think Damian Priest should be just a stepping stone champ. But you know, I would like to see Drew have a really good match with him because you know, I don't know. Unless he ends, I wouldn't mind watching him end CM Punk, to tell you the truth. So remember, I like Drew now because he puts up TikToks with his cat.
Yeah.
So
And my wife calls him DM Hunk, you know, all the time now, which I don't know really how I feel about that, but you know, she's got a soft spot for the Irish and Scottish accent, you know. So
oh yeah,
and I do too.
too.
I mean, my family roots are at least on my dad's side are from Ireland, and so might even go there next year. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
There is
I'll have
a
to
Big E
get out the
Langston
coupon book.
factor to
Go ahead.
there's a Big E Langston factor to this match. It's two big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I like a big guy match, man.
Anytime anybody brings up Big E, I always think back to like 2012, 2013 when he first came on the scene in WWE. And they, you know, I was still fairly new to Twitter. I'd only been on it like 2 or 3 years. So I really thought these celebrities actually read this stuff. And every time he'd come out, I'd be like, hey, Big E, tell the lady at wardrobe to cut your trunks a little lower. Your balls are going to fall out one night and somebody's going to step on them. You know, and I wonder
did you ever watch Arrow on CW?
No.
Or
I watched
Flash
some of it.
I heard of it.
Okay. All right. Big E Langston looks like the actor that played John Diggle. You're doing the deal with the wardrobe lady. I called him John Diggle on Twitter every time he came out.
I do, yeah.
I hope he
do
can
like
come back
Big
and
E
wrestle again
slapping
one day.
meat also.
Yeah, I hope he can come back and wrestle again one day because he does have a dynamic.
Yeah.
And even though I've heard him comment about the New Day stuff being silly or whatever, you know, and that may have not been his favorite thing, but you know what? He got over and he made a lot of money with it and he did a good job with it. So it may not have been his most preferred way of being presented, but you know what? Like Dusty Rhodes, I got them polka dots over, you know, and so
yes, sir.
But Reagan, you wanted to make a comment about
well, I was going to ask
wait, wait, 1 second. One last thing for me. Remember the custody of Dominic match they had at SummerSlam years ago between
oh God, yes.
Did you see the thing going around social media today where it's the same poster of a young Dominic, custody of Dominic match, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley coming soon?
Yes.
Oh no, but that is really funny. That is really funny.
That is great. So yeah, come back soon, Rhea. We miss you. You got to fight. You got to fight for Dom. You know, Liv's trying to take him away. So easy.
Get the social worker involved.
I wonder what she's doing these days.
You think about just to kind of break the veil of it. You think of all the dumbass gimmick matches that we've seen throughout the world, throughout the history of wrestling. We have seen some of the dumbest things. That one was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's why
a social worker would keep their job after allowing a wrestling match to determine the custody of a child.
And not just any wrestling match, a ladder match. The custody papers were at the top.
I think more custody should actually be decided that way.
Well, you know, there was when when we went to NXT, when it was down here at the Grady Cole Center, it's the old, what did they call it before? It's the old Park Center, right?
Yeah.
Where the Crockett's used to run, that little bitty tiny building, right down there in
Yeah.
Charlotte next to Memorial Stadium. Well, when I found out NXT was running down there, I got to go sit in this building because I like going to sit in these historical buildings. They had the guys, who are the guys in WWE now? Montez Ford and the other one,
Yeah.
and B-Fab.
Yeah.
I can't remember their team name right off the top of my head. Well, they wrestled for a car, right? At that night, the argument they had with the other tag team. So the referee came out and held up the keys. And I was telling Jinky, I was like, man, this is pretty high stakes right here. They're wrestling for like a Ferrari. You know, this is pretty high stakes match, you know, if you think about it. And she goes, well, is it the most high stakes match? And I thought, and I went, no, it is not. There was actually one where a human being was on the line.
Oh my God. That was just, yeah.
But I still like to go back and watch that match.
They did. They worked the hell out of that gimmick.
Yes.
Yep.
Because that went on for months and months. I remember Eddie Guerrero, don't make me spank you, Dominic. You know?
And the sad thing is Dominic's grown up to look more like Eddie than Ray.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, that's why you see those signs in the crowd now where the people are like, we knew Eddie was his real dad, you know. Eddie was right, you know.
Yeah,
and
Eddie
the
was
fact
right.
that Eddie Guerrero passed away in 2005 and 19 years later is still as over as he was when he was alive, you know, as just
that's star power right there.
I'm telling you, I mean, his wife kept it going for so many years as the most annoying manager in the history of wrestling. And now his nephew and has picked it. I guess, well, I mean, not real nephew, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah,
it's family.
Yeah. And Dominic even wears his hair and he's growing a mustache like Eddie now, which the veteran wrestlers are giving him hell about. And that's just great.
Does he do the?
Yeah. And he does the, you know,
yeah,
but he's been doing that for a while. So. Anyway, Reagan, give us your AIWF.
Well, it was
AEW thing.
Well, it wasn't. I haven't watched. You know how I said I was going to try to watch. It hasn't happened. So Mad Matt Carter was right. If you got that on your bingo card, drink now. Reagan Danzig said Mad Matt Carter was right. But no, I was going to ask you because I was reading a Jim Cornette quote this week about Edge because we discussed Edge, you know, possibly breaking his leg at the pay-per-view, you know, that the weekend when we had our show on Wednesday. And for the ones who don't know, and I had sent you that the oh no TikTok you know, of him jumping off the top of that very high cage and landing like it was like one of those videos that the F around and find out that Matt follows on Twitter. And I had not actually seen it, and it looks bad. And Jim Cornette was like, you've got him in there and he's got all this knowledge and he could lead this locker room and he could make a difference and he could show all these young guys what to do and how to get themselves. And I'm paraphrasing because it was really long what I read, you know, that he could do all this good stuff in AEW and have decent matches. He's like, but he's a 50-year-old man climbing up to the top of this thing, jumping off and doing the dumbass shit that AEW is known for. And it just, I usually do not, and I know you love Cornette. I usually disagree with 97% of what Jim Cornette says. But I read this and I was like, and you know, you think about it, but it makes so much sense. You have somebody who has been in wrestling for a very long, not Jim Cornette, Edge, you know, and had several successful runs, had several successful storylines and factions and like all this stuff. And he does, and you know, and he did get injured and he worked his way back and he got himself in ring, you know, ring shape again and had a really okay run there at the end. I mean, you know, maybe it wasn't what he thought it should be, but you know,
Oh,
And
you
then
talking
he
about when the
goes-
Judgment Day turned on him and that whole feud with his wife? And I thought
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was great. I mean, those were great things. Like I said, maybe he didn't think they were, but you know, and then he goes to AEW and he's doing mud show like dumbass spots that even somebody in their 20s shouldn't be doing. Brian might disagree.
Well, yeah, I think if you're a young guy, you could jump off the top of the cage.
But if you don't know what, okay, maybe it was because of the way he landed.
Right.
That I was okay.
Well, the fact that he's 50, I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Leave that for the young guys.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore to get over. That's like there was years ago I was working on a show and Tully Blanchard was on the show, and it was the same show where Bobby Fulton got mad at Daniel for wearing the "Remember Kids, Satan Loves You." I remember after our match, I overheard Tully Blanchard complaining because we were using barbed wire and fire. He's like, they're out there using barbed wire and fire. What the hell are we supposed to do?
yeah.
And I was like,
Follow a shooting, what's a stabbing?
well, my first thought was, well, you're making a whole hell of a lot more money than I am, so figure it out. But second of all, like, you're Tully Blanchard. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna walk through the curtain and get a bigger pop just from walking out there and people seeing you than anything we could have done. We could have set each other on fire and put each other through 10 glass doors, and you're still going to get a bigger pop than we do because you're Tully Blanchard. You deserve it. That's what you're going to do. We were doing what we had to do to get ourselves over. You're already there.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Edge. You don't have to. Edge doesn't have to do that stuff anymore. You're Edge. You don't have to, everybody knows who it is. But yeah, you don't have to do that stuff anymore.
Okay.
Was that the show Eden with all the stars on it that Chris Nelson was involved with?
Yeah.
Terminator X told me that Tully Blanchard said, "What am I supposed to do to follow that? Go out there and commit suicide?"
I just heard the first part. I didn't hear the commit suicide part. I just heard the first because I was thinking, you're making more money than I am. You figure it out.
Brian,
the way Tony's brain worked was he thought to himself, all right, cool, we did good. We pissed off this famous guy.
Maybe that should be a Brian Danzig Hall of Fame shirt, and it says that on the back, like if you the Tully Blanchard quote.
How do I follow that? Go out and commit suicide?
What the hell are we supposed to do? But no, but like I said, he's still gonna be more over than us no matter what. So
yeah, but I guess that let me clarify what I meant by jumping off, like doing like the way he did it was what was wrong. Like, that was what I'm talking about. Like coming off with like a cross body, coming off with like things like that makes sense now. Like, but watching what he did was like some dumbass that wasn't. That's why I said mud show.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said mud show. Some guy dumbass that's in their 20s that don't know what they're doing. So I'm clarifying my point.
Okay.
That's why I said mud show.
Well, I thought you meant mud show as in jumping off the cage.
No,
mud show.
No, like you're at a show like that. You got some dumbass who's not trained, who flips over, breaks his neck, climbing up the top of a cage and jumping off in his I'm trying to be Macho Man Randy Savage and then landing on his feet and breaking both legs. So once you started talking, I was like, okay, my point was I didn't make my point clear enough.
Right. Yeah.
She's talking about and also that's related to that video I circulated around at the end of the last work week where somebody that we know was at a show and didn't know how to go over the top rope and got dumped on his head, and the commentator, Macho Mania running wild. Young man pulls his pants up. Oh,
it's like remember the fuck it guy, the guy who was good at who jumped straight up in the air.
It's like
he said, bucket, and then jumped straight up in the air and then bounced off the turnbuckle.
Yeah, like belly to the turnbuckle, balls to the ring post, and and the camera just cuts off because like okay,
I mean,
he's
it's
dead.
like he got up there, and I mean, he could have come up with, I don't know. That one is funny. But
just decided out of the blue to try something he's never done before, ever.
It's
obviously.
like it's like when we're watching Hell's Kitchen and the person's like, I've never cooked monkfish before, but I'm gonna choose that as my signature dish. So.
Steven,
If you had
you
Hell's
look like
Kitchen
you've
on
been
your
trying to
bingo
say something
card.
for like the last 5 minutes. So go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. It just here comes my defensive edge on this, being the other 50-year-old, is every so often, and a couple of us are guilty of it. You get in the ring, you get going, and for some reason, a little piece of the back of your brain goes, you know what? I'm still young and invincible. I can do this. Bypassing any actual common sense and or reason until you land and go, I was wrong. My ass is old now. And that's that 15-second of got up top, stood up there and went, well, shit, I'm committed.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got to do it, and lands and goes, yep, wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could draw positive, well, at least they got health insurance,
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. AEW does treat their people better in that term.
Well, no, CM Punk said in an interview when he got hurt that they ghosted him. Like he had to go to his own specialist and stuff like that. And, yeah. So I can't remember who did he do that interview with, Steven, where he was talking about he didn't know who to call or who to
Ariel
go to.
Helwani.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
the
the
one with
Ariel
Ariel
Helwani
Helwani. Yeah, look that up.
Yep.
The MMA Hour CM Punk interview.
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind. It's
Yeah.
very
I can give you an example on that edge thing, because this guy decided in a match in Johnson City with Ty and Axton and Chains that my big ass could do a suicide planche over the top rope. Got caught halfway. Got caught halfway and then slingshot. It looked like Shamu breaching water and falling back into the pool.
Was it as
And
bad as was it bad as that guy in WWE? They fired him recently. The one that tried to jump over the top rope and just went.
No, it wasn't that bad. And I will give James's kid Axton all the credit in the world. Ty and Chains run. Axton stood there and caught me. All 5'4" of him and 150 pounds at the time.
I don't know Axton that well. I hadn't talked to him much, but I am good friends with his dad, and I knew that kid was a chip off the old block. Good job, Axton.
Yeah. He's actually, I don't know if he tried to run and Chains tripped him and made him stay or not, but I knew Chains was like, no, I was moving.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You ain't landing on me, biggin.
Oh Lord. All right. Well, that's all I got on the docket for tonight. Anybody else got anything they want to go over before we get out of here? We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so I think we need to take her home because it's gonna take a while to process the video and get it where it needs to go. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, wrestling fans. We'll be back with you next week. Remember, AIWF back at you live in Mount Airy on June 22nd. We've still got plenty of events to go throughout the year. We're running all the way up to November, then we'll take our winter break. So we got plenty more action still to come. Remember, at the next show, JAC himself, along with Clara, are coming. Brian Manis is coming. Who else?
Okay.
Con
O'Kelly.
Yeah, Con O'Kelly. Happy birthday, Con. I'll tell you what. You're in a wrestling locker room over the years. You learn that there are certain smells that go along with the wrestling business and everything, and certain odors that come. That does not apply to Con O'Kelly. I do not care if he has just gone in there and had a 30-minute banger with somebody. If you walk up to him and shake his hand, he always smells like a fresh bouquet of flowers or, cookies that just came out of the oven. I don't know how he does it,
Now, considering most wrestlers smell like cookies have been left in the car for 3 years.
He has, it's just, I know that's a weird thing to say. You know, he's an excellent wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but the pleasant odor from that comes from Con O'Kelly is just very unique. And I've been around the business almost 30 years, and I've never been around a wrestler with the ability to do that. So
got Betty Crocker hiding in the bag.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of supplements he's taking, but you know, when
if he catches me trying to smell him, I'm gonna blame it on you, Matt.
Well, I mean, this is just something you don't have to even get up and be all like creepy, like you don't have to do all that. You just like go to shake his hand, and you're like, God,
Okay.
did you just get out of the ring? You know, so, but anyway. So that aside, so fans, do not do anything creepy. Don't scare Con O'Kelly away by walking up to him and sniffing him. I'm talking to
Wrestling
you,
kink
Juliana.
unlocked.
I'm talking to you, Juliana. So anyway, so we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back next week. Maybe somebody will do something stupid in wrestling, and we'll have a lot of fodder for next week. You know, it was kind of
I hope so.
It was
That's
a quiet
right, fans.
news week this week.
Yeah, fans, if you find clips or things of people doing dumb shit in the wrestling ring, send it to us.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
I think we ought to have a bunch of Mania review one weekend.
Oh,
the only problem is I can't show the video or we'll get popped for copyright, you know.
We could still do a watch along without showing it.
Yeah, and we just play the sound and just tell people, give people a count, sort of like Tony and Conrad do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see about it.
Maybe the winter break.
Yeah, that's definitely an all-season show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Chris Severn. He said I just sent it. Hang on a second. He texted it to me.
We have his very own botch ready to go. Not of his own, but a video of to share.
His favorites.
I got my
me and him had enough. So
Chris Severn, I appreciate you sending me this, but I got my internet stretched to its wits end right now, and so this attachment is not downloading. So I'm gonna have to save it for another time. But thank you for sending it. Chris Severn always comes through a clutch with good video clips. I will say that. So
Chris Tenney does also. If he's in the chat, he also. Oh my goodness! I can't see what
that's the one.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Is that you?
Yep, that's
it. Is that your legs up in the air?
Yeah.
As I said, Shamu breaching water.
Wow.
That, boys and girls, was my last match ever. That one was the one that destroyed my back.
Oh my God.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Good God.
That's why I sympathize with Edge.
Oh, the way your head is inside. Is your head inside the middle rope and your body? The rest. Oh man.
The head cleared, but the back caught the ring apron and the legs caught Axton.
Oh man. Oh.
Don't go up there.
Anyway, on that neck-breaking note, I think we're going to get out of here. Now you know how Stephen Hayes' career ended, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Stupidity.
That's not uncommon, though. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. We'll be back. We might be back on later. I don't know. Hell, we'll let you know when we're going to be back on. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell for me, please. I appreciate it. You guys take care. For Stephen Hayes and Brian and Reagan Danzig, Rick Diesel, I'm Matt Carter. We'll see you next week, fans. And until next time, so long for now.